Hello, everyone. It's Mark here again. I'm the founder of the Arts and Culture Network. We're at 150,000 now across our 8 LinkedIn groups, which is crazy. I wish I could meet everyone, but I can't. But what I love doing is meeting our full members. And one of those is Bill. And Bill and I met originally back in 23. And we recorded and published an interview with Bill in November 2023. So what I love to do in these circumstances is catch up with our full members who I haven't spoken to one-to-one for a while, but also hit record so that you can hear Bill's news and the Bailey Theatre Company and what's happened over 2024 and what 25 has in store for us all. So Bill, thank you so much for joining me today and for being one of our full members. You must be one of the longest standing ones, for which many thanks.
You're welcome.
How is everything in Denver?
Well, it's going to be very cold this weekend. Let's see, in sea temperature, converting it in my head, I think it's going to be somewhere around -7 to -22.
Oh my gosh, yes. We had the lightest smattering of snow about a week or so ago here in the UK. So yeah, I have no idea what it must be like. It's you've got the chains on the tires, you've got the whole shooting match. There was a big debate here because when it snows heavily in the UK and especially in southern England, the whole country grinds to a halt. Okay, schools are closed, people can't get to work, sports events are cancelled, the whole thing, and it's mainly because people can't get around. And somebody did the sums and worked out that actually it would cost more than it would be reasonable to equip our country to cope with heavy snowfall than it's worth, because it's actually cheaper to let the country grind to a halt for a couple of days than it is to equip, put snowplows everywhere. So,
Yeah.
oh, well, we'll do wrap up warm and stay safe, won't you?
Yes, I will.
Yeah.
Yes, I will. It's actually unusual. That's unusual to get that cold here. It really is. But that's what they're predicting. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So let's have a quick recap of 2024 with you and talk about your plans for 25. How are you and your colleagues, and how is everybody at the Bailey Theatre Company?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Just continuing to move forward as I always do. That's the fun thing about being engaged with a lot of different people, is just taking every day and moving forward. So last year was our most successful year for Bailey Theatre Company. We had an increase of about 400% as far as people coming to the shows. Our first show, called Greater Tuna, sold 78% of the seats. And the second show was called Dear Jack and Dear Louise. And it did, okay, not as good as Greater Tuna. But we were very happy to welcome a lot of new people. We've started to see the impact of the theater on the community, in that people are coming up from Denver and staying at the resort that we do the shows at, and going to local restaurants and shops and stuff like that.
Yeah, they call that the velocity of money, don't they? I think somebody spends a dollar in 8 times, or a dollar moves 8 times within a community before it hits the bank. Yeah. Oh, that's great to hear. So what productions have you got planned for this year?
So the only one we have for sure is the second of the Greater Tuna series, which is called Tuna Christmas, which I think will be up in May. And the other show, well, we read 6 scripts, so I'm waiting for all the people that read them to get back to me with their rankings of them. And that show will probably be in September.
Great. I've got a show in me.
Well, come on out to Denver.
Oh, I'd love to. And I went when I was in New York in the 80s, late 80s. I went to see Tony and Tina's wedding. You may be familiar with that, and it's and the follow-up, which was, I think, Bernie's bar mitzvah. where the audience members, of which there were about 60 or 70, become the guests at a New York Italian wedding. So we jumped in the car at Columbus Circle and in the taxi and the cab and said, and I said, St. James's Church in Greenwich Village, please. And he said, are you going to Tony and Tina's wedding? And we had no idea what to expect because the person who recommended it said, I'm not going to tell you what's going on. So, and it was an absolute scream. We sang, we did the hymns, there was drama during the service. The cars didn't show up, so we had to walk through Greenwich Village to Caesar's Palace, which was anything but. And there were food fights during the reception. People tried to sell me drugs in the toilet. It was absolute scream. So they did this something similar for Bernie's bar mitzvah, I think. But my wife at the time and I came away thinking, how could we do something like this in the UK? Because the New York Italian thing doesn't work in the UK. So we translated it into a kind of class-based clash. So we called it Rupert and Sharon's wedding, and it was Rupert, who is the son of a wealthy family, accidentally making pregnant Sharon, who's the son of a car dealer from Essex, the daughter of a car dealer from Essex. And so we've kind of got a venue organized who've said, yeah, if you write it and produce it, we'll put it on, you know. But it's just been time, you know.
Yeah.
So, for example, the best man has to be played by a member of the audience, and he has to give the best man speech, not knowing anything about the groom. The other one I wanted to do was so the parents are all quite pivotal. So Rupert's posh father is a delight. He's lovely to everybody, but he is a long-suffering, henpecked husband of his wife, Rupert's mother, who is a social climber and a snob. Okay. And she is, as guests arrive, she asks them what their occupation are. And if she finds that acceptable, she puts them in her own stanchioned off red carpet area, which is tiny. So you've got people like this in the VIP area. And Sharon's father is a car dealer, and he tries to sell cars during the service and everything. And Sharon's mother is a flirt beyond belief, and so it's all of these little characters going on. But the denouement is the fact that it turns out that Sharon is adopted and is actually the rightful heir to the estate on which Rupert's family live. And they all live happy ever after.
I was going to say the little twist at the end, huh?
Yeah, absolutely, the twist. So so the show that you're definitely doing in May, what's that about? What's the backstory?
So it's a series of shows that are based out of Texas in the United States. It's a two-person show, and each of the actors play about 10 characters each. So they've got 5 of them. So we're doing them in order, even though Tuna Christmas will be in May. It's important to do them in order because the characters come and go, so you'll know what happens to them, as opposed to if you jump around, you don't know what happens to the characters. So it was very successful last year. We were up for 5 Broadway World nominations for the 2 shows, and one of them was for one of the lead actors in Greater Tuna. So it's just a lot of fun, and that's what the people came and had a lot of fun, and that's why we sold so well on it.
How do you spell Greater Tuna?
Greater, new word, Tuna.
Oh, Greater Tuna. There we go. Yeah. First in a series of 4 comedic plays, each set in the fictional town of Tuna, Texas, the 3rd smallest town in the state. The series was written by Jason Williams, Joe Sears, and Ed Howard. Excellent. Oh, I must have a look at that. Did you get
it's a lot of fun, and that they play both men and women, and the hilarious interactions are amazing. And when you see it live, they have some very, very quick changes. So it's kind of fun being in the audience because you never know if they're going to make it for the next day.
One of our other members, Rachel, she wrote a play that does that. I think she had 4 actors, but there were about 8 characters. And they all had really quite obvious clothing or uniforms that they had to shift in and out of to do it. It was quite confusing at times when female actors were playing male parts. And it was farcical in all the right ways. You know, it was great fun. Oh, well, that sounds like a delight. So you're doing the follow-up in May. So that's great. So this has been a wonderful chance to catch up with you. And what I'll do is I'll drop this updated catch up into your profile page on the website, which, by the way, we just found appears first in the Google results when you search for Bill by name, Bill Bruner. And others can come and watch it. But Bill, I just wanted to say thank you so much again for being one of our full members and for sparing the time for this. We'll get this onto your profile as soon as we can, and keep up the great work.
Thanks, Mark. It's always great to chat with you. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you very much, Bill.